What's up, YouTube? Today we got a video from Lewis about Trump. We know how this is gonna go. Says he gave a speech, so we're gonna see how this go, giving the current climate of everything, should I say? Because y'all know how this is gonna go. So let's get into it. Let's watch this video, and make sure you guys, if you want to check out that video below, the original without my commentary, I'll leave the link in the description. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Let's get into it.
Donald Trump is at it again, trying to divide America as he goes on another deranged rant on how you should hate Somalians, how half the country is your enemy, and even gets into a shouting match. This is at the State of the Union. Let's take a look at him.
We just got into the video. Jesus Christ.
Calling Somalians pirates and attacking half the attendance instead of bringing this country together, showing us exactly why his ratings are at an all-time low.
The Somali pirates who ransacked Minnesota remind us that there are large parts of the world where corruption and lawlessness are the norm, not the exception. Importing these cultures through unrestricted immigration and open borders brings those problems right here to the USA, and it is the American people who pay the price in higher medical bills, car insurance rates, rent, taxes, and perhaps most importantly, crime. We will take care of this problem. We're going to take care of this problem. We are not playing games.
Ironic, Donald Trump labeled all of the things that he is responsible for increasing in this country as he blames it on an imaginary enemy to yet again try to divide the United States of America. And unfortunately for him, this is not the divided States of America. Because just seconds after he said that, this is the part where he gets
No, that was fine. That was fine. Divided States of America. That's fine.
into a shouting match because he continues on this Nazi rant, which shows what his beliefs are and who his intended audience is. I mean, how many times do we have to see this image, careful mate, that foreigner wants your cookie, till we realize who the real enemy is? It is the Epstein class, the elite, the protected. And Donald Trump is now getting called out in real time for him trying to divide America, as he blamed these people for increasing violence in the country. Let's take a look at Trump getting called out to his face about this disgusting language nobody agrees with.
Isn't that a shame? You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself. That is why I'm also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals and enact
Wow. That is insane for a president to do.
serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens. In many cases, drug lords, murderers all over our country, they're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
They're Americans. When are we going to, like, when is America going to realize that America was built with other people, by other people? It was never y'all's.
This is the deranged rant of Donald Trump, and this is why he has over a 60% disapproval rating. There is nothing he would love more than for this country to fight time and time again so he can secretly do what he's been doing since his first year in this term, making himself and the Epstein class richer as everybody else fights. When ICE kills Americans, he calls the Americans killed terrorists. He calls them criminals, but then he pardons the billionaires who've been put in jail for actual fraud. He pardons the drug trafficker billionaires who were put in prison because they were able to pay him something. Because remember that the White House leaked that you could buy a pardon for $1 million. Or how about the time Donald Trump pardoned the criminals that raided the Capitol on January 6th that were attacking police and saying that they should die? And do you know what caused this disruption aside from Donald Trump alone? Well, it was Donald Trump in this speech earlier where he was mad that he wasn't getting a reaction out of the Democrats, so I guess he forced one. Because he stated time and time again, look at them not smiling, not standing, what's their problem? He then starts outright insulting them, calling them crazy, yet again admitting to America that he's not in his right mind. And he makes up lies about things not happening. However, we're going to see that in this clip right now. Let's take a look at it.
Agree, no state can be allowed to rip children from their parents' arms and transition them to a new gender against the parents' will. Who would
Anybody ever seen that happen in their actual real life? I haven't. I haven't even heard of a case like that. At this point, he's preaching to the choir because MAGA has already left the cult, and all that's left is Nazis, PDFs, and PDF protectors. However, let's let him continue.
believe that we've been talking about this? We must ban it, and we must ban it immediately. Look, nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy.
Are you serious right now?
Imagine saying the most insane thing possible that's not rooted in reality and getting no reaction and then calling everybody else crazy. That is called projection. Donald Trump accuses everybody else of what he's doing the same way MAGA has time and time again. Every single thing they try to project on someone else, and it never sticks because we only find out moments later that they were just talking about themselves. And there's so little critical thinking going on over here that they don't even realize what they're doing, or maybe they do. And that's all a part of the plan to divide America yet again. However, let's let Trump continue.
Boy, oh boy. We're lucky we have a country. With people like this, Democrats are destroying our country, but we've stopped it just in the nick of time, didn't we?
Yes, Democrats must be ruining the country when we have a Republican MAGA president, a Republican MAGA Congress, and a Republican MAGA Senate majority. Yet somehow, some way, it's somebody else all the time. It's Joe Biden from 3 years ago. It's Obama from over 10 years ago. It's everybody else except for Donald Trump.
And for me, I guess, in a sense, it's all, combined to me. But hey.
Trump. And unfortunately for him, the majority.
You just keep stacking on BS and BS and BS. You know what I mean?
Majority of America knows what that's called. It's called a lack of accountability. It's something every adult should have at this age. But when you got away with what you did in the Epstein files time and time again, as they deleted more today, by the way, they deleted all the information on Katie Johnson, someone who sued Trump when she was 13 for what she did to him on Epstein's Island. And we're going to get to that evidence later in this video as well, because Trump is not going to successfully have a cover-up of these Epstein files until everybody is prosecuted. We will never stop demanding the release of the Epstein files. He's lost over 1 million jobs in 1 year alone, 68,000 being in manufacturing jobs. And the strangest part of all is he announces later in this speech that tariffs are making us rich because they're paid for by foreign countries. This is a business major, by the way. And in your first class on economics, you learn about tariffs and how consumer actually pays for the tariff. It is a tax on your own citizens. And currently Trump is being
Yeah, I like how everybody said tariffs tax people, but they didn't know the logic behind tariffs. Bro, you see what happened to the eggs?
bombarded with refund demands for all the money he's cost big businesses, small businesses that he's bankrupted, as well as Americans who have been paying 96% of the tariffs since his release of them. Let's take a look at this clip.
I believe the tariffs paid for by foreign countries will, like in the past, substantially replace the modern-day system of income tax, taking a great financial burden off the people that I love.
Actually, the reason we don't do tariffs anymore is because just like the 1930s that led to the worsting of the Great Depression, it destroyed our economy. They're not reliable. We tried it. There's a reason we switch systems, because as the ages go on, technology advances and we learn from our mistakes and we do better as a country. However, if you're Donald Trump, then you're stuck in 1946, the year he was born, and you're not.
Bro, be frying him. I'm not sure if y'all familiar with him. I love his videos. He be frying, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
Concerned about the rest of Americans or how this is going to hurt their economy or their bank accounts or their jobs and their work ethic is going to go to waste. No, you're more concerned about how do I get more power and control over these people? Well, by making them poorer and my billionaire interest friends richer. Donald Trump is good at one thing, and it's at dividing America, but that's even questionable if he's good at it, because to be good at something requires a bunch of people who fall for that tactic time and time again. Because fact of the matter is, Trump preys on the vulnerable that does not have access to this information. Hell, he told MAGA not to go to college, as him and all of his friends send their children to college. Why are billionaires telling the average working class Americans to avoid college like the plague but sending their children anyway? He said they were indoctrination centers, but he also said he loves the uneducated because they're the easiest for him to dupe. They're not going to question these policies because they don't have a single inclination on this, and in the cult of MAGA, you're not allowed to have a single critical thought. You have to go with whatever the cult leader says because he controls your emotions, your value systems, your beliefs, and everything you do. He's even convinced them to not believe every piece of scientific evidence evidence we have on this planet or multiple different sources of news so you can arrive at your own conclusion. No, you can only believe Donald Trump in the cult of MAGA. So while this speech does not resonate with the majority of Americans who have actually done a semblance of research or who have a basic level of understanding and a moral compass, there is still that minority of PDF MAGA who just get all of their information from him and drop everything they knew to believe it. In a sense, he amplifies their insecurities and fears and supercharges their hatred and tries to force it in a direction. And if it's already in one direction, let's say they're already racist, he just gives them even 10 times more of a reason to be racist. Only nothing he says is actually rooted in reality or the truth. Because that's what racism is, ignorance. Because remember how Donald Trump cut...
Let's talk about it. You hate me, but if I could have chose my color, bro, I would have came out purple or something, twin. Nah, like I would have been gold or something if I could have chose. Come on, man.
Americans off a food stamp. I mean, we had a government shutdown for almost 2 months because of him, because he wanted to cut down SNAP and kick people off the program, and he also wanted to end the ACA, and he already cut Medicare. But
hold on, not saying I don't want to be black, but I'm saying as far as the racism, like they hate us because of our skin color. Like we have no. Let me know if y'all could pick, because I didn't have that. I didn't have that option. You know. And I fought my skin color. Don't get me wrong. It's just, you know what I'm saying? If I could be, I'll be rainbows or something. It could be chameleon.
In this speech at the State of the Union, he lies yet again, saying he lifted 2.4 million Americans off of food stamps. No, he actually kicked them off of food stamps. Rent's higher, healthcare is higher, wages have stayed the same. However, let's take a look at what Donald Trump has.
Rent is definitely higher. Rent is definitely higher, bro. It makes no sense. Parents was paying $500. We're paying twice that, bro. $1,500 only get you one bedroom. But y'all just seen on the last video they talking about we don't like having babies. Where are we supposed to put them?
To say about that.
We cut a record number of job-killing regulations, and in 1 year we have lifted 2.4 million Americans, a record, off of food stamps.
It's crazy how you see the cult all standing and clapping for any lie he says, spreading the propaganda. I mean, it's clear that these are the people receiving paychecks from Donald Trump. And then the rest of the normal Americans are sitting like, what are you talking about? None of this is happening. At least not the way you're framing it. Now, pay close attention to this image right here. The majority of people sitting down are not having it with Donald Trump. And by the looks of it, they far outnumber this madness. Trump is desperate.
Hey, look at them. Look at these boy. Hello. Look at everybody, boy. They like talking to each other low key. Like, bro, hey, he tripping. He is tripping. What is he even talking about? Yeah, buddy's lost it.
And nobody is buying that.
Look at them. Look at them right there.
Act. And in a second, we're going to show you the difference between these Trump speeches and Obama's speech at the State of the Union in 2015. And to show you just how sick and tired.
And from a previous statement, it's not that I dislike any thing that, not that I hate Obama, but if you, in reality, if you think about the nature of the position, everybody knows this information that, you know, it's so and so classified, and you did nothing about it until 2026 when we're pressing y'all about information.
MAGA is of Donald Trump, to include the ones that he's still paying paychecks to. Look at Marco Rubio's face as Trump gets on stage and lies about ending 8 wars. He has had it with Donald Trump. Every single week he looks more and more miserable. However, do not feel sympathy for him.
I've had it with that guy. You know that? I've about had it with him.
He still willingly contributes to this rhetoric every day. However, he can no longer hide just what he's going through. This is the result of selling your soul. Let's take a look at this clip.
Country has never been stronger. In my first 10 months, I ended 8 wars, including Cambodia. Isn't it funny? And sick people. Cambodia and Thailand, Pakistan and India. Would have been a nuclear war, 35 million people.
The fact that he's even getting laughed at as a president at a speech should say something. But hey, I don't.
Said The Prime Minister of Pakistan would have died if it were not for my...
This is the face of somebody who is tired and who has had it. And this is the MAGA that you don't hear about. He's already too deep in to back off. And Trump has already promised a potential presidency ticket. Bear in mind, these are the same people, him, J.D. Vance, multiple of these MAGA Republicans hated Trump, calling him Satan, Hitler, calling him a con man, a liar, and now they all take his money. Because it's not about morals and values for these people, it's about power, control, and money. I could never sell out for a paycheck, because by the looks of this expression right here, it is simply not worth it. Now, Trump is absolutely obsessed with his lack of control, showing you that this Epstein class is only about power and control, specifically the Trump administration, because he complains yet again that there's a section not standing up, as if they're implied to stand up and be a yes man to him, because he's only surrounded by yes men that sell out. He's not used to authentic people that don't buy the bull, which is why he's seemingly at war with half of his own country. However, let's take a look at this clip of Trump revealing who he really is to America.
These people are crazy. We're lucky we have a country. With people like this, Democrats are destroying our country, but we've stopped it just in the nick of time, didn't we?
Now, as a breath of fresh air, let's look at Obama's State of the Union speech versus Donald Trump's State of the Union speech, and you let me know if you can spot the difference between the two, because there's many people out there who have said time and time again that they miss the professionalism in this country from the president. They miss the class, that you were expected to have a high degree of integrity, certainty, and willingness to learn, because if you didn't, you just weren't going to become the president. Well, we are going to have that very, very soon. Now, let's look at two different examples of this, and let me know in the comments which one sounded better to you. Let's take a look at this clip.
I commit to every Republican here tonight that I will not only seek out your ideas, I will seek to work with you to make this country stronger.
I look at the Democrats in front of me and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do.
If you share the broad vision I outlined tonight, I ask you to join me in the work at hand. If you disagree with parts of it, I hope you'll at least work with me where you do agree.
These people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what. It's very sad, and it just shouldn't
What achievements, bro? What achievements?
be this way.
Understand, a better politics isn't one where Democrats abandon their agenda or Republicans simply embrace mine. A better politics is one where we appeal to each other's basic decency instead of our basest fears. A better politics is one where we debate without demonizing each other.
We take out the criminals, killers, traffickers, and child predators who are allowed to enter our country under the open border policy.
The difference is, in my opinion, Obama wanted to work together as a group, a group project, should I say? But bro, right here, he think he the main character, I guess.
See, of these people, the Democrats, the Biden administration, the open border insane policies that you've allowed to destroy our country.
For all our blind spots and shortcomings, we are a people with the strength and generosity of spirit to bridge.
Just listen to the compassion and decency and just the tone and their voices.
Divides, to unite in common effort.
It's interesting to see him not only divide the citizens of America, but he's been dividing political officials as well. He's doing this at both a micro and a macro level. Now, the real question to MAGA is, do you really want to live in fear and hate for the rest of your life? Because that is what you are signing up for under Donald Trump. And if seeing other people's lives get ruined makes you happy, then your problem runs deeper than disagreeing over the economy. To most people, the change for a better direction is obvious. However, once again, leave in the comments which one sounded better or made more sense to you. What type of leadership style do you think resonates with the majority of America? As the speech went on, Trump's mind got more deranged, saying crazy things like Democrats are responsible for inflation when Trump has now been the president for over a year. When he entered office, inflation was on a decline from Biden, who took presidency during the pandemic. And as Americans face challenges affording anything nowadays, Trump complains that Democrats somehow raised inflation because nothing is ever his fault. However, let's take a look at this clip and hear from Donald Trump himself and what his point is with inflation.
Now, the same people in this chamber who voted for those disasters suddenly used the word affordability, a word they just used it. Somebody gave it to them, knowing full well that they caused and created the increased prices that all of our citizens had to endure. You caused that problem. You caused that problem.
not like everybody in the same room like can affect the issue though? Or am I tripping? And for y'all acts like, no, I'm not this, no, I'm not that. I feel like overall we're cooked anyway because we're divided from the start. We got Republicans, Democrats. If the goal, this is my head. If the goal is to make not from his statement, of course, to make America just wonderful and a great country, then shouldn't it just be like one collective of like people just trying to generate ideas for the betterment of our society? Rather than like just because that was a Republican's idea, I don't like that idea, or just because it came from a Republican, I don't like that, or it came from a Democrat, I don't like that, or you know what I mean? It's a Democrat's policy, I'm not signing that. Like when it could just help us, you know?
They knew their statements were a lie. They knew it. They knew their statements were a dirty, rotten lie. Their policies created the high prices. Our policies are rapidly ending them. We are doing really well. Those prices are plummeting downward.
Were they given a pep talk before this happened to just stand and clap after every 10 words? I mean,
I think so, twin. I'm with you on that.
They actually doubled these speeches' time just by standing and clapping every time Trump ended a sentence. He didn't even say anything. As everybody else sits around like the rest of the viewers around the world wondering what the hell is even going on right now. The problem is Trump doesn't listen to his own country because he turned his back on them a long time ago. And MAGA has felt these effects. So how can a billionaire relate to an American issue when he doesn't experience any of that pain? Trump has never went through that pain in his life. He has been rich from birth. Trump's version of a struggle is
I believe I read something that said like he like damn near doubled his wealth by just being in presidency.
One of his first major speeches saying his father gave him a small loan of $1 million. It was actually a lot.
By the way, the average salary for a president, just in case you didn't know, is like $250,000, and most presidents donate that whole salary to a charity. Okay.
More than that. So to Trump, a little bit of money is $1 million. And he's raised prices so much for normal average Americans that he's beefing with the word affordability and saying people made the word up. The fact that Trump just heard about groceries last year and affordability this year should tell you everything about how disconnected the Epstein class is. Not only that, but he's willingly lying and trying to mislead, only it's falling on deaf ears. There's nobody else to believe the lies. There's only that small minority of MAGA left, and those people are too far gone, but it doesn't matter because they're outnumbered. However, Trump gets even bolder with these claims with his next statement. Let's take a look at this clip.
The cost of chicken, butter, fruit, hotels, automobiles, rent is lower today than when I took office by a lot. And even beef, which was very high, is starting to come down significantly. Just hold on a little while. We're getting it down.
Donald Trump, you just said it's all down, but now we have to wait a little bit longer for it to come down. He also said that when he raised the prices initially.
Look at this man's in the back, though. You don't even know what's going on. Like, exactly. What is your man saying?
Back in around April from last year, nothing Donald Trump promises comes to fruition. That's because he is a con man. You just have to keep waiting and keep waiting. While he triples his net worth, you need to keep waiting. You need to keep losing money, and you need to keep paying for these tariffs. Trump doesn't create actual dramatic long-term change. He creates destruction and chaos and divided nations. And the only people that genuinely support this are the ones that are receiving paychecks from him, or are those easy targets that he relies on to keep his thing going. Because when you are full of hate towards people that have done nothing towards you, you simply can't think straight, and that is Donald Trump's target audience, not these PDFs and PDF supporters. Now, to show you how much support was fake from these MAGA Republicans standing up, clapping, and cheering after every sentence Donald Trump said, here is Mike Johnson right after the speech, looking flushed, drained, and worried and scared out of his mind. That speech was terrible, and they know it, because he says right here, if we lost the midterms, that would be the end of the Trump presidency. He knows it's coming and that it's on the way. Nobody is buying this, not even the ones receiving paychecks. They can't lie anymore because they're feeling the pressure. Let's take a look at this clip.
He needs all 4 years, not just two, to fix the mess. And that's what we need. If we lost the midterms, heaven forbid, if we lost the majority in the House, it would be the end of the Trump presidency in a real effect. So we've got to keep this going, and I think we're excited to put our candidates on the field to explain all this to the people.
It's exactly what we said. They are desperate. He just said we've got to keep this going. That entire charade we watched of that fake applause, standing and clapping. It seemed rehearsed, it seemed forced, it seemed fake. Everything about this is just like Donald Trump, rehearsed and fake. All to try to please an audience that is no longer there. MAGA is gone. And people at home are tired of this crap. They want their lives back. They want their jobs. They want their opportunity and economy. They are tired of being dragged down and lied to. People were not happy with this speech. It was a failure and it was full of lies. And this senator right here says it himself. Calling Trump Pinocchio and calling this speech the People's State of the Union. Let's take a look at this clip of him calling Trump out, because this is the exact pressure Trump has been facing, and it's why his lies no longer work. They all fall flat as the truth leaks out because Americans are not taking their foot off of his neck. Let's take a look at it.
Lies a palooza that goes on for hours with him. If he was Pinocchio, his nose would stretch across the entire length of the floor of the Congress this evening. It's one big lie, a made-for-TV spectacle, a bogus sales pitch.
They really just be roasting you, like they roast each other and just Webster fucking words, shit, for real. That's what I realized about politics, dude. That shit is funny as fuck. Like, y'all really just be cussing each other out. Y'all just can't do it because y'all politicians.
And a slap in the face of the millions of Americans who are living through their struggles each and every day. Trump will stand before Congress tonight and say that everything is fine. He will say the economy is the best ever, while working families are drowning under the weight of health care bills and housing costs and food costs and Trump tariff taxes. He will say the system is working and that we need more corporate tax breaks, while the billionaire CEO cronies loot this country under the cover of manufactured crisis. He will say the country is safer while immigrant communities live in fear of masked agents ripping parents from their children, and innocent people are murdered in our streets at the hands of ICE thugs operating with impunity.
This is exactly why the Trump administration is failing miserably. They cannot stand the heat. They can pretend to dish it, and the second it comes back in the smallest form, they crumble every single time. We've known MAGA to be like this time and time again. They fold every single time. And America is tired of their shenanigans, so somebody has to hold them accountable since they won't do it themselves. There is a reason we are called the United States of America, because we even have this Virginia governor getting on camera and calling out these lies as well. The manipulation and gaslighting is ineffective on Americans who actually want good for their families and their country. We will not be divided. We will not be fearful. We will not be filled with hate. And most people are willing to fight against that, like this Virginia governor right here. Let's take a look at this clip.
Tonight, as we watched our nation's lawmakers gather for a joint session of Congress, we did not hear the truth from our president. So let's speak plainly and honestly. And let me ask you, the American people watching at home, 3 questions. Is the president working to make life more affordable for you and your family?
No.
Is the president working to keep Americans safe both at home and abroad?
No.
Is the president working for you?
Those were great questions.
No.
And I think we can make it a bit more accurate by asking, are the president's lies working for you? Do the president's lies make sense to you? And if you're tired, when is enough enough? And as a testament that America is done with this, there is already polls being ran on how they felt about Donald Trump's speech. These are the approval ratings of 2026 at 38%. And his last one last year was 44%. He lost a 6% approval rating from his cult. Now, if you're not hip to just how much of a cult MAGA used to be, take a look at this guy's confession right here, because this is one of the most insane things I have read in a long time. Biden wiped out his student loans. It's incredible, really. Biden wiped out my $80,000 student loans, the first president of my lifetime to enact a policy that directly, substantially, and positively impacted my life, freed up $800 a month, and I'd rather eat cat S than vote for him. This is March 1st, 2020.
What type of like? Okay, and why did you have the need to tell us?
24. Those of us with student loans know how crushing they are. I borrowed $90,000, made $64,000 in payments, still owed $80,000. I was sitting in a pub when I got the email. It was the happiest I'd ever been since my mom beat cancer. Still not voting for him. These people vote against their own self-interest. That's how bad they were in this. These Nazis in PDS will
Look at his profile picture though.
vote against their own best self-interest to vote for Trump. A worse economy, racism, and PDFs being protected. More violence, more bankruptcies, less jobs, less job growth. And this is actually a great post because it shows the testament of just how bad Donald Trump screwed everything up, because we have people like this leaving Trump. Maybe not this guy. This guy clearly doesn't have too many brain cells left in his head. This is why Trump loves the uneducated. Voting against your own self-interest to make a billionaire richer who appeared in the Epstein files over 1 million times is insanity, which tells America that you must be just like him, only without the money part. This is obviously a joke, but people like this should not be allowed to vote. But don't fret, because these people contradict themselves so much, like this guy right here, Joshua Jake, LOL to everyone that doubted Trump and crypto, February 3rd, 2025, and now February 22nd, 2026. I'm honestly sick and tired of Trump. Nobody is winning. You sincerely cannot make this stuff up. These people willingly voted to ruin our country. They got what they wanted, and now they're like, oh, this sucks. And while this post is astonishing, it yet again shows why Trump loves the uneducated, because the uneducated is the only type of people that would cheer this on for this long. He's not mad about the Epstein files. He's mad about his stocks falling. That's crazy. And America is so sick and tired of these people. They're saying, I'm genuinely glad this is happening to you. They're so sick of these people's behavior because they simply don't listen. And it takes them losing everything for them to finally care about what's happening to the country, because as long as it happens to everybody else but them, it's totally fine. And they only want to hold hands and work together the second it negatively affects their life in the most slightly inconveniencing of ways. And finally, Trump once again hints that we are going to strike and potentially go to war with Iran, saying they now have even more mass weapons of destruction. He said we took care of them the first time and now they're rebuilding it. Let's take a look at this clip.
Serious violence, but this is some terrible people. They've already developed missiles that can threaten Europe and our bases overseas, and they're working to build missiles that will soon reach the United States of America. After Midnight Hammer, they were warned to make no future attempts to rebuild their weapons program, and in particular, nuclear weapons. Yet they continue, starting it all over. We wiped it out, and they want to start all over again, and are at this moment again pursuing their sinister ambition.
Bro, isn't this like a reason to go to war every time? Mass weapons of mass destruction.
We are in negotiations with them. They want to make a deal, but we haven't heard those secret words. We will never have a nuclear weapon.
We all know exactly the direction that's going to head in. To wrap it all up, Trump promised war, a worsened economy, and more racism. He didn't mention the Epstein files or prosecuting them one time. He didn't mention the Epstein survivors one time, or
because he would have to prosecute himself, right?
how he cared about them and wanted the best for them. He didn't mention the injustices of Renee Good, Alex Pretty, Keith Porter Jr., and the list goes on. No, instead he mentioned how much he hates Democrats, or I guess half of the country, and talked about things no one else has been talking about, has asked him about, or is really concerned about, because it's not the major problems we need to be facing right now in America or paying attention to. However, the only problem for him is nobody wants to be divided. Nobody wants their communities destroyed. Nobody wants to walk around filled with hate and in fear of what someone else filled with hate is going to do to them. And just like Trump's polls, if Trump refuses to hold himself accountable, then the rest of America will. So with that being said, release the unredacted Epstein files, Donald Trump. Bring justice to the Epstein survivors, to Renee Good, to Alex Pretty, to Keith Porter Jr., and follow the law. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please make sure to have a wonderful day. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
Alright guys, so leave down in the comments how you felt about today's video. Like I said, the original link will be in the video, the description. Hit the subscribe button, it's free, and a like button. And without further ado, y'all have a great rest of y'all day, and check out the video from yesterday.
What times I had to stand alone and it wasn't in my plan. So many times I had dropped the ball.